Hey guys, and welcome back to Pixel Survivors, which is another arena-styled game, and very similar to Vampire Survivors. In fact, you can see that upgrade screen actually looked extremely similar to Vampire Survivors. That's the closest one I've seen to what Vampire Survivors looks like. But I still found this game to be reasonably fun, although it does have a lot of things that are very similar. For example, the circle that's around me right now is very similar to Garlic and Vampire Survivors, although I think this one kind of looks cooler, but very similar. Thunderstorm, there's also an equivalent thing in Vampire Survivors. Tornado, I can't fully remember because I haven't played Vampire Survivors in like 6, 7, 8 months, but I think Tornadoes seems like a solid ability. And then there's some other ones that are just sort of basic things that you would see in lots of games like this. For example, like increasing attack speed. The reroll option is kind of nice. Overall, though, I found this to still be more fun than some of the games of this style that I've played. Maybe it's perhaps because it is so close to Vampire Survivors, and I thought that was a pretty good game, as did many people. Some that I wouldn't take here. Fire Shield, I thought that was a little too close, like not enough area. I like Holy Circle better because it's kind of like Garlic. Again, you get that sort of area around you that's protected, and that tends to come in handy even if you're using a ranged build, because what happens is that as the game progresses, eventually you get to a point in the end game where the monsters get quite fast and quite strong, and they're really chasing you down, and they're, well within the range of the fully upgraded Holy Circle or Garlic and Vampire Survivors. So I think from that perspective, I was also focusing on taking a lot of the XP upgrades just to try and scale a little bit better. And as you'll see, my level got decently high, so I think that was probably a good investment. The biggest problem that I saw with a lot of this was just, it's annoying having to go around and go back to get some of these chests afterwards. I was constantly going in circles in this game. This is definitely a game where you end up going in circles a lot. Basically, you just sort of loop back around and try to lead the mobs around and get some nice upgrades. This Minotaur-looking thing here was chasing me down. Oh, of course, it's literally called Minotaur. And then I got a time freeze, and I was able to start working this guy down. The big thing for me with these was just trying to make sure I could get the drops, because it was often sometimes kind of hard to get them initially. I have to really sort of drag the mobs around and then circle back. And it got harder and harder the more mobs were out there, the later in the run. It just got increasingly harder to see what was going on and where the chests even were on the ground. I thought this stage of the game was pretty fun, but as you'll see near the end, it starts getting to this point where it just scales kind of out of control in terms of the sheer number of mobs that are coming after you. And I'm kind of curious in this game what builds would be really good. So Coin Bag, the thing about Coin Bag is it's one of those upgrades where it's seems like basically one you would choose when you first start playing, but then after that it doesn't make a huge amount of sense just because, well, it's not really actually helping you within the game. Or at least not as far as I know, unless there's some upgrade that benefits off of the number of coins you've collected on a run, but I didn't see that one. So you can upgrade permanent upgrades with that, but that's more of like a grinding for those upgrades type of thing, rather than doing well on a specific run. Alright. So I was doing pretty good at this point. Holding pretty solidly up to almost level 42. But as you can see, I was still kind of struggling to control the crowd here. I was doing a decent job. Maybe I should have been trying to wipe out more mobs here. Got Tornado Relic. This one was pretty cool, because now you get these 3 tornadoes that just sort of follow you around in this circle, which is kind of neat. I thought that was particularly interesting. That was a nice sort of like special, unique type of ability. And I like the ability to get things like that from some of the boss drops. I thought that was kind of a neat feature. So we'll keep upgrading Tornado since it's doing a lot of work on this one. Was really relying on Tornado and Holy Circle, and that turned out to be a pretty good combo. Honestly, it was a pretty good combo. I have that orb going around as well, but honestly, its range is so much smaller, I don't really know if I liked having that or not. Overall, though, this was pretty good here. You can see I was finally able to get another time freeze in here. So I worked back in on this School Lord boss. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, I just kind of backed off near the end of this, and I probably should have tried to keep forcing some damage on that guy, because I'll spoil it right now, I never got that boss down on this run. It was up until the end of this run. I was just never able to get close to it again. More and more mobs started spawning around it, and I couldn't really seem to ever push back through them. I think I was just in a constant state of trying to escape. As you can see, I was just not taking these guys down fast enough. I was doing enough to keep myself from dying, but it was starting to get pretty intense here. And then skipping ahead to level 74, you can see I have Death, which is like a Reaper-looking thing. That one comes up right next to you, though. It like teleports right next to you. So that's the main reason I was able to get that one down. But the School Lord, the skull-looking guy, unfortunately was too far within the mob of mobs, and I was just not able to get any more damage on them, despite getting them down so low initially. But you can see how insane this is starting to scale. I don't know if this is just what it's going to be like regardless on these type of runs, or if it's my build not scaling well. But regardless, this got pretty crazy. Counter to me seemed a little meh, just because I felt like it's like a single target thing. And again, I was having more trouble with like the overall sort of crowd control, I guess. Like there were just too many mobs. I needed some more AoE stuff. Because most of the single target things like the bosses, I could usually just sort of run away and kite them. It was really just the packs of mobs here at the end that were causing the biggest issue. Because they were just coming in from all sides, and I couldn't get them down fast enough. I could have tried just staying in one space, but this dude here, he kept cutting me off. I was like barely making it around the corner because I was going in a circle. I was barely making it around the turn each time without dying. It was getting pretty crazy. So right here, I was like, can we get Vengeful down? But Vengeful wasn't taking any damage. Or so I thought. But then they suddenly disappeared. I don't understand what happened there. Someone will have to explain. But yeah, I guess leave a like if you enjoyed. I don't know what happened there. Clearly something happened. Either I killed them and they killed me, or they killed me but they just despawned off the screen. Something weird happened. But that was the end of a pretty crazy run there. Got up into the 80s with level. My craziest run yet. Let me know how you've been doing in Pixel Survivors if you still play. I thought it was actually a pretty fun game, even though it is really similar to Vampire Survivors. So leave a like if you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.